show, but of course 4 o'clock always means who's hot, who's not. High five. Whoa,
right,
that was woo, a tough one.
Stinging right now?
It's stinging a little bit.
It stings. All right.
So you said you were all fired up today.
Yeah, I was lying about that. I'm really sleepy. I'm really tired. No, I am fired up.
He
Happy
is fired
to be
up.
here, ready to rock and roll.
Well, I know you're fired up. I did see your Facebook post as I'm looking here to make sure I pull up my hot or not list, because that's what we do is we keep notes on the phone. I'm not texting here.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
If you need to send a really important text
No, I
message,
don't need
none
to
of us
send
are going to mind.
anything. I'm pulling up who's
It
hot
is
and
the
who's
year
not.
2017.
No, but you had a Facebook post about Paws was spotted in Warwick.
I was at the Taco Bell on Route 2 in Warwick, Bald Hill Road, and I'm sitting there and just kind of minding my own business, and all of a sudden, who rolls in? None other than Paws. So Paws came in, he was scaring the children, they were crying, he was trying to do his thing, and he's passing out schedules, and he's passing out like magnet schedules and actual schedules, and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, you know, when Ben Mondor was in charge of the Pawtucket Red Sox, he would pass out tickets. So ownership, I know you guys are really, you know, really scraping by, just trying to survive. I know that you guys are broke, but if you want to build public relations goodwill, give Paws some Sox tickets to pass out. Give him some general admission tickets. You'll get a lot more that way than just with schedules. Well, so it's a pro tip for you guys. You need it.
Tip from Russ Moore. Yeah. We had Don Grabian on this week, but that's neither here nor there because he's just not on the list. So
he didn't make anything. So for him, that's a good thing.
He was on yesterday, so let's start at the top of the list.
All right, let's roll.
Gianfranco Morocco.
Yeah, let's give him some love. I mean, look, we're all sad to see Fire and Ice over at the Providence Mall shut down so abruptly due to problems with the air conditioning. I mean, come on, you got to have air conditioning in the summer in Rhode Island. But look, they closed and it's awful. They were one of the original restaurants at that Providence Place Mall. But it was nice to see Mr. Morocco come forward and say that any of the employees who have been abruptly laid off, they're more than welcome to work at one of his several establishments over on Federal Hills. So it's nice that he's handing out parachutes. We like parachutes.
That's some
especially
goodwill.
Especially if we're falling.
especially if you're falling. It'll be interesting to follow up with him and see if any of those employees took advantage of this generous offer by Gianfranco Morocco on the Hill. Just opened up Blend up there. He's got a number of restaurants up there. So we'll see if any of those employees took him up on it.
I'm sure they did.
Okay, let's keep going down the hot list here. Let's see, numero uno, we have marked off Melissa Young, Superior Court.
Yeah, sure. The appointment to the Superior Court, I think that's a good appointment by Governor Raimondo. She seems eminently qualified, and as Jim Vincent said on Go Local Live earlier this week, it's nice to see some woman of color appointed to the bench. So. All early indications are good. She's going to have a hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee, but I don't expect that to be overly contentious. So congratulations to her.
She looks like a
good
very,
appointment.
Very qualified appointment. Melissa Young to Superior Court. Marvin Abney.
Yeah, I wanted to give the House Finance Chairman some credit because he did run a really orderly budget deliberation by the full House of Representatives. You know, he's under fire a lot. You've got people asking him tough questions, and he did generally a good job. So I wanted to give him a little shout out, give him a little love. They were out of there by 10 o'clock at night, so they weren't passing the budget at 3 a.m., which they're apt to do. So they made good on that promise. Look, I've got beef with some portions of the budget. I'm sure we're going to talk about that when we get to the not hot aspect of the list for sure. But as far as the actual deliberation go, I thought that Representative Abney from Newport acquitted himself quite well.
Well, I have to say, being in the press, they had a little sprint at the beginning there when they unveiled the budget on that Thursday night. The press briefing was around 10:30. It went before the committee at 11. They really were trying to get through. Now the speaker.
I noticed that Friday you were yawning for a while, so.
Doesn't take much to keep me tired. But the speaker did point out it wasn't like the Finance Committee didn't know what was in there already. They'd already had umpteen hearings on what was in the bill. So they did go past midnight. Both sides did agree that they were going to obviously suspend those rules that they could actually have the vote then the following week after.
Right.
And as we stand here, they're trying to sprint to the finish up at the State House right now.
Yeah,
again, the speaker has promised not late nights, but a couple of big bills right now.
Maybe it'd be better if they stayed a little bit later and passed good bills instead of getting out early and passing bad bills. That's neither.
Well, they're still going through on the Senate side and Senate Labor the disability for firefighters.
We're going to get to that. That's on the list.
That's on the list.
We're going to get
to
that.
And then the Evergreen contract. So
right.
Here we are.
This is the year of the public sector.
But it's 4 o'clock on Friday. They're looking to get out, so we'll see what happens. I'm kind of keeping tabs on them.
Maybe they could just do nothing. Maybe they could just end, just leave. Okay,
So,
here's a suggestion.
you're nothing if not controversial.
Thank you. I don't know if that was meant to be a compliment, but I took it as one. That's how I roll.
You're nothing if not controversial. I did think it was interesting to put Sean Spicer on the hot list.
Speaking of controversial, we've got Mr. Spicer on the hot list. Sure, if you ever wanted to meet the man behind the podium who likes to be mean to news reporters, and I know a lot of people hate news reporters, so, I mean, this is your chance. You can shell out a G-note, $1,000, and they'll tell you where to go. The fundraiser's at an undisclosed location.
It is currently at an undisclosed location,
But if you're walking around with an extra $1,000 in your pocket, you will quickly find out where to go with that money.
1,000 gets you to the VIP. I believe it's $250 just
$250 for the general
admin.
But come on, if you want to go full first class. You want to go the full.
Are you going?
No. No, I'm not going to be giving Mr. Spicer or the Republican Party $1,000 for the pleasure of meeting him.
I
No.
did see Brandon Bell chair the
It doesn't seem
GOP
that
this
pleasurable.
morning on a Lively Experiment.
Yes, you did.
Did not seem open to having press there. I'm not sure if I'm really willing to be shelling out to go.
I think you're going to have to pay if you want to go.
You gotta pay to play. That's
Doesn't look like we're going, Kate.
Pay to play.
We'll have to hear about it.
And of course, it wouldn't be a hot list without a sports figure on it. Noel Achari.
Absolutely. Rhode Island native, played for the Bruins last year, did a good job, great player. Got a contract, 2 years, averages about $725,000 a year. I think that's really good money, so it's nice to see a local guy do well, especially playing for the home team. So
No, I don't have it in front of me. I wish I could probably bring Joe Calabro out here to ask him. A one-way contract? Is it pretty much like he's kind of...
He's on the Bruins.
He's in the majors.
He's in there, yeah. He's on
There's
the
no
big...
going back and forth.
In MLB they call it the big show. You know, he's at the show. He's on the Boston Bruins.
But I thought that was the way the contract was called. It was like a one-way.
One way.
Yeah.
Good year.
Okay.
It's one way and it's a good way.
One
Awesome.
way. I mean, I'm not in that world. I'm sorry?
One-way contract.
One-way contract. Joe's
Only
around
on
the
the
pay.
Bruins.
Only on the Bruins.
That's right. Awesome.
The NHL group.
The NHL Bruins. Lastly on the hot list, how can it not be the 4th of July?
Yeah, happy 4th of July. We may disagree upon a lot, and we do. That means me and everyone else. Me with everyone else. But it's great to be an American because we still have the freedom of opinion. You know, we still have the First Amendment. We can say what we want. And I think that's a great thing. I'm proud to be an American. I know everyone else, or most everyone else is. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. And with family, friends, and maybe you'll be with some enemies at a cookout and you can argue. That's probably what'll happen.
All friends after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, well, at least you have a few drinks.
Or a few drinks. Have a fight. No, be a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, be a happy drunk. But don't drive, whatever you do.
Russ Moore, we've gone through the hot list.
All right, now we get to the fun part.
No.
Imagine that. Now we're actually going to start the fun
Now
list.
it's you put the governor on the not hot list because of what's happening right now with the Paw Sox.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that she's telling us that she supports this Paw Sox deal, and she's got concerns about everything. I don't know about you, but when I've got concerns about everything, I don't support it, right? Because I'm concerned about it. So we have no proof that the city of Pawtucket is going to be able to backstop or make good on their portion of the investment. And if they don't make good on it, the state is going to have to pick up the tab. That's how this is going to work. If Pawtucket... There's a lot of uncertainty in this Paw Sox deal. For the governor to get behind it when she's got concerns about everything is a little concerning on my end. So I'm not too crazy about this statement by her. So I threw her on the not hot list.
Well, I'll tell you, it came up during her budget briefing, her press briefing this week that I was at, and I asked her the question. I said, Governor, do you have concerns that the city of Pawtucket won't be able to backstop these bonds? And that was the response, I have concerns about everything. So we did have Mayor Grabian in, and it was kind of that, nothing's a fait accompli. It was sort of, it wasn't, I'm super concerned about this, but it wasn't, that she thinks that, the Pawtucket is going to be able to do it.
It's either she's concerned about everything, or she dodged your question. Either way, she's going to land on the not hot list for that. Either way.
So when we had Mayor Grabian in, I asked him about it, and he was talking about eyeing TIF financing, he was eyeing charitable donations.
He's
So,
dreaming of charitable donations.
I know he's looking for revenue that he doesn't have to sort of go in the city's pockets to be able to do it, but
Good luck.
So here we are again, June 30th. They're looking at a fall session. So I asked him. I said, if we do look at a fall session, are we going to get more information, more particulars? And he did say yes. So
Okay, good. That's actually a good thing, though. The fall session is a good thing because there's going to be more transparency around this, not less. So that's actually a good. I want all the information, and I want hearings, and I want angry people asking angry questions. I want to have some fun with this. So the fall session is a good thing. So
Russ Moore
it's not all. Listen, it's not all bad. A lot of it is, but not all.
Once angry people asking angry questions. But
Yes.
if there's an opportunity to fully vet it, get more
Get
information.
it done. Make it transparent.
Well, I'll tell you, we had that report about McCoy and rehabbing McCoy and what it would cost to rehab or tear down. We haven't really seen many finite numbers about projected attendance, and projected revenue, auxiliary revenue. We haven't seen those reports, those sort of economic impact reports that I think are going to be really necessary for the General Assembly.
You got that right. That's for sure.
I don't think anecdotes. I know I get with the mayor. He's between a rock and a hard place. The Pawsox ownership said, look, you don't have something at least before us, before July 1st, where we're going to start talking to other folks, and we know that.
Don't let us hold you back. Do not let us hold you back, guys.
That's the position the mayor's in. We'll see what happens with the Pawsox moving forward. Let's keep going down. Who's not hot? Going down. You have Mayor Loras on the not hot list for his non-position on evergreen contracts.
You were talking about the evergreen contracts before, and this is a horrible bill. This is a bad idea because it takes away any... Look, we've had several other mayors in the League of City and Towns get together in Warwick yesterday. They put on a press conference, and they eloquently stated why this is a bad idea. It takes away their leverage to negotiate contracts because the union is going to be incentivized to give up nothing. Just keep everything exactly the way it is, and because they don't have to give up anything, they can just ask for more. So it's a bad bill. There should be leverage on both sides, and I thought the mayor's made a good point. But yet we have Mayor Elorza, who has taken no position on this, one way or the other. But it's ironic, when he was fighting with the fighters union 2 years ago, he wanted other mayors, and they did come to his aid and kind of defend him. So I think
there is some irony.
There's some irony here in that you got to be a team player, and sometimes you got to make tough calls. You can't just say I have no position on this, and it will come back to haunt him, especially if he somehow wins re-election. So this is an issue that he should be speaking out on. His silence was enough to land him on the not hot list.
Okay, next question, Dr. Tad.
Yeah, Dr. Tad, right? Come on. He's on the news. He's on WPRO. He shows up on the road show. He's the big medical professional, but he's really not because the state of Rhode Island made him surrender his license. So that's not a good week. That's not hotness.
Again, very, very out there, very public, and very technical language about what exactly had happened. And for folks who might not have gone through the weeds to actually see what had taken place, he's a doctor of Oriental medicine and acupuncture. And the Department of Health repeatedly said, you have to continually say that because you're not a licensed physician here in the state. One of the issues I took umbrage with was the fact that he was telling apparently patients to stop taking medications prescribed, and they said you have to consult with the patient's physician before you do anything of that nature.
Wow, that's serious.
So it was the way that he presented himself, and the doctor, again, he was a doctor of Oriental medicine and acupuncture, and that's what they said. No, you have to surrender.
He was fronting. He was fronting. That's
it
what
was
the
a
kids call it.
voluntary surrender.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting in terms of what you see.
Might not be what you get.
Might not be what you get.
It's like when you go on, it's like if a single person, when they go on a date, right, and they meet this person and they seem one way, but they're really not.
Wait a minute.
But the stakes are a lot higher in this instance. So this was bad, and this was not hot, so I put Dr. Tad on the not hot list.
I'll tell you, it's a little dense, but reading through how the Department of Health really characterized what had happened all along, if you have any interest in that or about medicine or how the field of the health profession is presented in the state, take a look at that. It'll take you about 10 or 15 minutes to go through, but very well worth the read.
At least 10 or 15
At
minutes.
least 10 or 15. Yeah, it's a deep dive.
We're not all as fast as you. Come on.
No, just on the streets, just running.
All right.
Okay, Joe Almeida for the disability pensions.
Yeah, cities and towns throughout Rhode Island are struggling. They often have to raise taxes. They can't make the ARP payment on their pension plans. We're not awash in cash here. I think that's a safe statement to make. So why is Representative Almeida, and why is the House of Representatives, why is he sponsoring a bill that expands the granting of disability pensions, expands the criteria to get one? And why is the House of Representatives passing a bill that expands the criteria to get a disability pension? I can't figure it out for the life of me. I hope the governor steps forward and vetoes this bill. If she wants to land on the hot list, this is a way to do it, because the taxpayers can't take it. And I know that I know the legislature apparently thinks that Rhode Island is, flush with cash, but it's not. So I know that it's good to have the public sector union support on election day, but at some point we have to do what's right for the many, not just the few. So I put Joe Almeida, who is by all accounts a nice guy, but I put him on the not hot list.
Now, you do know obviously the firefighters' arguments that there were some conditions that weren't covered under disability. They referenced particular cases of people who they said, most likely had gotten sick on the job but didn't have the proof of it to be able to get the disability pensions. But last we'd heard that there was negotiations. Apparently they took hypertension out, which would have lowered the price tag significantly. They're still considering it up at the Senate this evening. So here we are again at the 11th hour. Keep all eyes up in the State House as to what's...
Governor Raimondo, veto whatever they pass, please.
Okay, not hot. You have Joe Almeida. Let's keep going down the list here. It's getting close. The DMV. They haven't even launched the new system yet, and you put them on the not list.
Wow, what a nightmare. This is get this now. The Rhode Island DMV wants you to make an appointment just to have the right to show up and go through their normal protocol, because they're putting in this brand new computer system, and we know the state of Rhode Island has a great track record with implementing new computer systems in place, and this is going to be fun. So brace yourself, because we're going to have some stories about the DMV. It looks like, asking people to make an appointment just to show up makes me think that they're really nervous about what they're gonna.
Well, we had
release.
Paul in here who was talking with us about it, and one of the things that he said was, if they're not 100% certain, they're not going to launch on the 5th. I was on the panel at Lively this morning. I said, I give it a 50-50 shot. They've been putting out so many communications of, make sure you've got everything taken care of, make sure you have appointments. The one just yesterday that said, for the whole month, if you've got something that's expired, don't worry about it. We've contacted TSA. They keep setting the bar really, really low for, I believe, expectations for Rhode Islanders. So, they're going through testing.
We don't expect much out of them anyway. Come on, it's a DMV. You show up, you're going to wait 18 hours just to register a truck. Come on. So yeah, for the fact that they're telling me or the Rhode Islanders that you have to make an appointment to go through their normal protocol, this is a harbinger of bad things to come. So I'm really nervous about this, and I feel like this is going to be bad. So I put this on the not hot list. I'm sorry.
Again, this is the world according to Russ.
Yes.
Finally, the world according to Russ. Trump cared, couldn't get a vote. Where do things stand?
They can't. The Senate, they can't even get a vote to begin debate on this bill. They can't get their act together. The Republican Party is not unified. You've got moderates who don't want to remove coverage. You've got conservatives like Rand Paul and Mike Lee and Ted Cruz who think that the bill doesn't go far enough. So it doesn't seem like there's much that they can do. It seems like this thing is poised to fall apart. I'd be surprised if they could pass this bill out of the Senate at this point, because there just seems to be such a schism in the Republican Party, and there's only 52 of them. They can only afford to lose 2 and have the bill pass.
So we'll see what happens. They're on break this week.
Right.
A lot of folks are on break this week. I hope folks get a chance to take a break this week.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you back next week. A little fist bump. Fireworks.
Have a good one.
Russ Moore, Go Local columnist, author of the Hot or Not list every week on Fridays. Of course, Mondays he pens an opinion column, always very opinionated. It's fun to have him here in studio to bounce off who he's got up, who he's got down. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, make sure you do on Go Local.